Right, this is very exciting times for me and my little shorty here behind me. Now, we've had this on the road since just before Christmas. Me and the family have been loving this vehicle. We've been up and down the beach, Australia Day, we're going to get ice creams in this, forward-facing rear seats. The kids absolutely love it. But I am who I am, right? So this has got the old 2F in it, an old 4-speed with the single-piece transfer case. It's got a few leaks here and there. I'm not happy with the engine bay, so I'm not happy with the engine full stop really. So I've had an engine in the container for a while now, and it's I've got the conversion kit from it now from Delos. They finally delivered with it. I've also got some exciting other stuff I've got to put into this vehicle. I'm going to be converting it to 60 series power steering, all that kind of stuff. But let's go under the bonnet, have a look what's going on in there and what we're going to be pulling out and sorting out under there. Right, the mighty 2F. To be honest with you, the 2F in this vehicle has been a bit of a powerhouse. Very surprised with it. When I first got it, had some issues with the distributor. The vacuum advance wasn't working in there, so it was popping and banging all over the place. I sort of made one good distributor out of 3, popped it in there, and ever since it's been absolutely perfect. We've got a Holly running it, and the Holly's is juicy. We don't use this thing. It's a weekend car, so don't really care about its fuel consumption. But it's just, I'm actually a bit sad to get rid of it because it's been such a brilliant engine. Nothing else has gone wrong with it. It hasn't missed a beat since I've had it. But it's time. You can see the Firewall back here. It's red. It was probably the original colour of the car. So I've got to address that while I've got the engine out. So later on today, we're going to get stuck in, pull the engine and gearbox out here. Old Cooper's going to pull everything off the Firewall here. I've got another bonnet to go on it, so that I'll be painting up to get rid of that patchwork quilt up there. Now, Paul did the walk around on my little shorty here ages ago and said that my power steering would be up for sale. It's already sold, it's gone. So the minute I get this off of this vehicle, it's going in the post and it's going down to Hobart in Tasmania. Very cool indeed. So really, without any further ado, we'll get on with pulling this engine out. Now, I did say I've got some other cool stuff to go on it, but we'll have a look at that later on down the line. It's time. Cooper over there, love ya, has been on this all day, man. He's been cracking on, and he reckons that he's disconnected every single wire, even the speedo. CJ, it's out to you for leaving the speedo on it every time you take an engine out. So we're going to attempt to pull this out now. We've got Max over there on the Datsun. He's ready to on the controls. He never does what he's told, but you know, anyway, it's better him being in there. Right, let's give it a go. Kick in the guts, Maxie. Up. All right, slowly. We're trying to get it out with the headers on, which could be a little problem. Just trying to swing down a bit, mate. Have you got a pry bar there? Mountain bolt. That's quite a large hammer. Can you get me a small hammer? All right, go back a bit, Maxie. Up a bit. There we go. Go on then. Up we go. A little bit more. Yeah. All right. Whoa. Yep. Let's have a look around that side. All right. This exhaust is going to become a bit of a problem.
I think we should have removed it.
Should have taken the exhaust off. Don't want to take the winch off.
Oh, wait. Holy
What?
fuck.
What have you done?
I have forgotten something.
What?
Can you come back?
Ah. Oh, man. Lucky I'm not going to use the handbrake, innit? Just get some side cutters and cut it.
What was it, Cooper? Oh, it was the handbrake. It doesn't matter, it doesn't work anyway.
Oh man, and I thought you was going to do better than CJ. Let's try that again.
Sorry, fellas.
No, you're right. Up you go. Up. Straight up. Straight up. Nice one. All right, Max, I reckon you'll clear that now. Straight back. All right. I'll pop it straight down in front of the car, mate. Mate, I'm going to miss this engine, to be honest. We've had so much fun with it. It's been a little powerhouse. Out the box, started on the button. Let's just hope the 1UZ is going to stand up to the legacy of this 2F. They cop a lot of stick, the old 2F, but I love this engine. Well, that's definitely a success. I think the next step for, well, it's the afternoon now. I think it's a knock-off time, but next step, we're going to be cracking on. Cooper's got a lot to do in the engine bay here. All the shock towers have got to go, the engine mounts, the gearbox mounts have all got to be cut and ground off and drilled off the chassis. The radiator supports here on the front cross member. Everything off the firewall's got to be stripped off so we can paint the firewall properly. And then we've got our shock towers to be welded on. We've got the fish plate for the 60 series power steering. And then we'll be getting the engine and gearbox mocked up in there. Now, it's going to be an interesting thing because no one does off-the-shelf mounts for these. So I think I might have to give Billy from McKinnon's Cruisers and Steve Kellner. They're going to come up here, I think, and dial them in so they can put them on the shelf for anybody in the future that wants to do this conversion. So I think that's a wrap for today, boys, eh? What do you reckon?
Everybody.
Nice one.
Nice one.
Well, I thought I'd better do an update because Cooper here has had 2 weeks off school. Oh, 3 weeks off school. You had 3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
And he has been cracking on. I blink and it's at this stage. So before we go any further and before Coop leaves us after this 3 weeks and doesn't come back till next Thursday, we'll just have a look what's going on. So after we got the engine out, the main jobs of that was to get off the old, no, fuck it, start again. I'm cracking on. Honestly, I've blinked and we're at this stage here. So I thought I'd better do an update before Cooper leaves us. He's so gutted to leave us and he won't be back until next Thursday. Back to normal, back to his 1 day a week, eh, Coop?
Yeah, gonna be very sad.
Anyway, look, you're pretty. That was good. I liked it. I liked it. Do it again. We're start again. So, what have we been up to? You saw us taking the engine out of this thing. The next stage, really, because I'm doing a 60 series power steering conversion, which is going here. All the old shock towers have to go, and also all the old engine mounts and gearbox mounts that are riveted to the chassis have to be drilled out, knocked off, scurfed back, and that allows us to have the bare chassis so we can rework the 1UZ and the H55 with McKinnon's Cruisers cross member on there. So Cooper's been hard at work today, just cleaning up all the 40-year-old grime and dirt and grease that's sort of collected on the chassis rails here. He's also stripped back the whole firewall. Every nut and bolt is off of there. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to be using like a stone guard, a white stone guard. Sorry, mate, I just smashed you in the face. Are you right? Just a white stone guard on the back here, but this is Pour 15. We've rubbed it right back. Use the Pour 15 as a bit of a primer because that stuff, it literally sticks like shit to a blanket. And it's probably the best coverage you're going to get, the best protection for the metal underneath. So we'll put a stone guard on there. We've done, look, I've got a new bonnet to go on it, but we will, I've just painted it for now just because I don't know how long it's going to be until I get that bonnet on there, and it's all right on there for now. So that's just to protect that. So we'll, from here on out, so in the next couple of days, we're going to be mocking the engine and gearbox up. So I've got the engine, I've got the Delos Bellhousing on there, and I've got the H55 casing. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to be just mocking that up in there with the McKinnon's cross member, working out the engine mounts, right? So I haven't really thought about that yet, but that's going to be Probably our biggest hurdle up until now. So there'll be new shock towers going on here to take, what's going on? We'll be welding the new shock towers on here, and also we got the fish plate and the crush tube to go in there to take the 60 series steering box. Right, moving back from there. As you can see, we've got the rear axle out of it. Now, you guys that have done a 5-speed conversion on one of these before know that you lose your handbrake on the back of the transfer case. So, the 4-bolt rear axle, you need a 4-bolt rear axle on this and the 60 series backing plates. Check this out. It's done. It's in there. We've proved that the 79 series axle housing works with the various combinations of other bits going on here to turn it back into the 6-bolt. And we've got the shafts here, just down here. They're out of a 40 series, so they'll be going in here. We've still got some inner axle seals to go in there. We've got some cheap old pads to go in there as well for the just to bed it in. I managed to get, this is awesome, I managed to get these cross-drilled rotors on the back here. I've got drilled and grooved rotors on the front, so I thought it'd only be right to have them on the back as well. I'm really looking forward to how this thing breaks, actually. It's going to be quality when we get there. So other than that, there's not much going on. We've put some new bushes in the springs here. I've got some new shockies to go on it when we get there. I need to turn my attention to the diff, get the air locker rebuilt and ready to go back in here. But it's exciting times, and it's about to explode, man. I can't wait to get the engine and box in there. I'm watching Paul's putting a 75 series rear end in his, disc brake, calipers, all that kind of stuff. And over in the corner, we've had this old 79 series housing sitting there for ages. And I thought it was a great time to measure up, to realise something that I've been hoping was right for a while now. So we measured it up, and the casings are basically exactly the same in all the dimensions. So it interests me. So if I'm going to put this, if I'm going to be changing the axle out in the rear of mine anyway, I thought let's do the R&D and see if a 79, so that's with the big V8, the 79 series rear axle would go in the Shorty. Now, it's a 79 series is a 5-stud hub pattern for the wheels. So what we've done, we've got a 60 series hub, thrown the 5-stud in the bin. Bruh. So the shafts that are in this casing now are shafts out of a first month 1979 on rear axle. So they are exactly the same length as the 79 series shafts. And we're using a 60 series rear hub, which the bearings that go in the 60 series hub are exactly the same bearing kit that goes in the 79 series 5-stud pattern hub. So far so good with this one. So what we've done, Cooper over here, as you can see, he's been working hard.
Skill issue.
He's been grinding off all the old perches, all the old the anti-sway bar mounts on the axle. Done away with all that, and we've moved each of these perches in 15mm each side, so 30mm overall, to be in the same width as the 40 series springs. So I've welded these on already. You can see I've welded them on there. They are all ready to go. Cooper's just doing the final little touches, cleaning this off ready for painting, which he'll be doing very, very soon indeed. And then we can get this thing mounted in the car and start to fit up all the bearings. There is one thing that is definitely different. So the actual rotor on the 79 series has a big bell on it, where we're going to do away with that. We use a 75 series rotor. All the handbrake gubbins in there will work, and we'll have to run a BJ74 handbrake cable as well because it's a Shorty. Can't wait to get this in. Let's get rocking. Oh fuck, I forgot to mention the diff, the pumpkin. Right, another cool thing about this rear 79 series axle that's going to be going in the Shorty. I bought a couple of air lockers off of Billy McKinnon years ago, probably about 3 years ago now. They look like they've been out in the paddock. Well, they had been out in the paddock in a bucket. They were all rusty. I've got one in the 60 that's been going strong, obviously rebuilt in the 60, been going strong for 2 years now. I thought this is the perfect time to get the other one out of storage and get it in the Shorty. Now this is really interesting, right? So 79 series rear axle housing, and this is a 80 series pumpkin housing. Now the stud patterns are the same, everything's the same. It's really interesting. If you don't know, these 79 series casings will fit 40 series, 60 series, 75 series, 80 series, or the rear pumpkins are all the same dimensions, so they all interchange between them. This one's a 4:1 ratio, which we'll be putting in here. We're going to do a rebuild on it. We've got a full terrain tamer kit going for it, and we'll be putting the solid spacer in there because this will be putting up with some you know, a fair amount of welly from me, four-wheel driving and doing whatever. So definitely a solid shim in there, solid spacer, set up with the preload. It's just cool the way Toyota, throughout the decades, kept everything interchangeable. It's really cool. Right, let's get on with it, Coop. It's gone extremely well. I'm 99.9% sure this is going to work for sure. I haven't had the diff and the shafts in yet, but if my calculations are correct, we're on the money. So we've got 79 series housing, we've got 79 series backing plates and handbrake assembly, 75 series rear rotors, and the calipers run right from HZJ75 all the way through until the 79 series. They're on the rear of the 80 series and everything. So that's a real universal caliper for the rear of these Land Cruisers. So on top of that, we're going to have, we got the 60 series hubs on the end here, which turn it into a 6 stud pattern for the Land Cruiser, the early Land Cruiser. And then we'll have the post 79 drive shafts, the long and the short, and we've got an 80 series pumpkin to go in here. So I think this is a great upgrade. I reckon that loads of people are going to want to do this one, especially as these housings are still available. So you haven't got to find second-hand stuff. You can go and buy all this stuff new. So it's very, very exciting. We're going to start stripping down the rear end of the little Shorty, roll the old axle out of it and get this one in place and see if it's all going to work. Pucker. All right, we're going to give this its first mock-up. I haven't done anything. I haven't even cleaned this engine. We stripped a few bits off of it just to make it easier to get to the engine mounts when the thing's in the engine bay, but even the looms on it. So I just want to get it in there, mocked up, the cross member bolted up, so we can then pull it out and really put this thing together. But as you can see, look, this is what we do at Mr. Land Cruiser when we're doing an engine conversion. It makes it a lot easier to sort of balance the engine when you're mocking them up and getting them in the engine bay. So this is just a 5-speed or 4-speed casing with the underslung gearbox mount under there, and I've got a cross member mounted on this at the moment, so we're going to get it in there and then use some right angle brackets, I'm not sure which ones yet, but to attach to the chassis. Here's your Delos Bellhousing from the Bellhousing conversion kit. Now there's nothing at all inside here, there's no flywheel or nothing like that. There's no need for it at this stage. So I think once Paul's done on the phone over there, we'll get him controlling the forklift. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but we'll stick with it for now. Me and Cooper over here are going to watch the sides and watch everything that's going on. The firewall, I'm just going to leave in the Pool 15 at the moment, because if I scratch it in any way or anything happens to the firewall, I'm not bothered, you know. So once we've sorted it out and we know where everything's going, we've got the mounts in place and tacked on, then we can get it out and paint the chassis, paint the firewall in the colour that I want, and then it just leaves it to be bolted in for finals then. So there's heaps and heaps to do yet. We're not even scratching the surface. We've got cooling, we've got power steering, we've got fuel systems and all that kind of stuff. So this is just an initial mock-up to get an idea of what the hell is going on. Alright mate, come in. Keep coming. In you come. Cooper, do you want to get around and check this up? Okay, so as you can see, it's less than ideal, the surface that we're working on here, but here at Mr. Land Cruiser, all the customers get the best real estate, and they're all undercover on the concrete, and unfortunately I get the gravel, and it's less than ideal mocking an engine up, that's for sure. And God forbid I should ever drop a bolt or anything, because especially when they're the same colour as the gravel, you will never find them. But okay, look, we've got this in. We're going to support the gearbox, sort of get it up, and immediately I can see some issues. The front sump on the 1UZ is probably going to interfere with the front pumpkin if there's any sort of flexing going on, so that's something I'm definitely going to have to look at. I think we can go back probably another few inches, so we'll try and do that and see how it develops. You want to get on that? Yeah. So when I'm going to be flexing, there ain't much flex in a shorty, especially on leafies, right? So I think what I'll do, we'll do a little flex test and see how much it's going to be going up. We just don't want it interfering with the sump here. It could get you into some right strife if you're out and about. So I think just a bit of modification, reinforcing on that sump, we might get away with it, but we'll pop it off and see how it goes. So these are just standard 1UZ mounts. Just ordered them earlier on today. I think they should work quite well. I think it's going to be a really simple setup to get this to work in this shorty, man. One of those either side will be a very simple setup.
I'm a documentarian, I can't help.
I'm so scared of it. Ow! We've core 15 the firewall. I've welded in the cross members. I've still got to weld in the engine mounts, but we've marked them where they are. We know the height and everything like that, so we'll weld them out tomorrow. But I want to get the engine in tomorrow, so the firewall has got to be dry. So this is just a stone guard, like an anti-gravel white, which I'm going to be. So it's like a textured finish, a bit like any of those other ones, Raptor and all that, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. So that's just going to cover the firewall. We've just got a bit of protection so we don't get it all over the place on the windscreen and that, but it won't go any further than that. This stuff doesn't go that far, it's quite heavy. So I've had Cooper, where are you? Come here, man, you got to see this. So Cooper's been shaking this vigorously, as young teenagers do, for the last couple of minutes. Oh yeah. You can have a go at this Cooper in a sec as well. Let's get someone going through it. Oh yeah, look at that go. It's not coming out how I wanted it to. Ah! It's shit, isn't it? What's going on? Where's my day going so terrible?
Maybe it'll work now. Try it again. Nah.
Right, so it's probably a good idea to clean the nozzle out before you use it. Otherwise it explodes and goes everywhere and shit like that. It's really ruined my day. Anyway, fucking thing. Good job it sticks like shit to a blanket, really. Hey, Paul, do you want to go?
I'm enjoying watching it. Keep it up.
Fucking planes, man. Shut up! Honestly, mate, I don't think I could have got more on me than I got on the car. Time for a beer. Fuck yeah.
I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. This shit, I'm out.
Very exciting times indeed. So Delos has delivered finally. Was a little bit over time, probably about 3 weeks late, but you know, the whole industry's like that. Anything custom just blows out and takes a little bit more time, and I was not bothered at all because I now have the adapter Bellhousing to go from the 1UZ to go to the H55F. Very cool indeed. Now, they supply, you can buy these just the Bellhousing or just the clutch and stuff like that, but I just wanted as little hassle as possible, so I just got the whole kit. It comes with, you have to send your, because my engine was out of an automatic, so you have to send your flex plate away to Delos, and they remove the ring gear from the flex plate and they put it onto the new flywheel that will be going on there, and that comes with, I assume, yep, it's, this is Asian pressure plate here with what looks like an XED clutch pressure plate, and this is good for apparently only 400 horsepower, so, but I don't think I'll be getting there quite yet, so we might be turbocharging it later, but I don't think that a shorty will have anything more than 400 horsepower, so I think we'll be all right there. The kit's pretty comprehensive. It comes with the new clutch fork, and we've got the push rod, the clutch push rod. We've got the bearing carrier, the release bearing itself, and that'll be pressed onto there. You've got the pivot point for the clutch fork, some clutch plate bolts there, and you've got the bolts to go from the H55F into the Bellhousing. We're going to get the engine up. I've got a bit to do to the engine to sort of strip away some of the excess wiring and stuff like that. I really want to try and streamline that. So, and then we'll be getting, I've got just the gearbox casing without any gears in it, without transferring it. We're going to bolt that up, bolt this without the clutch or anything like that, bolt it to the engine, and we're going to do the first mock-up into the engine bay, see where we're going to want it to sit. So very exciting times indeed. Right, this is engine and gearbox getting it in the vehicle time. So we've got our 1UZ here, all the ancillaries stripped off of it to give ourselves a bit more room. We've got our Delos and Bellhousing flywheel clutch converting kit. We've put all that in there and lubed it all up, and we've got our H55 gearbox and transfer case. Now, so lucky with this gearbox. I got it off a guy called Bob on Marketplace, and he said it was taken out of a vehicle a year after it was bought brand new, and just before they did, they gave it a full rebuild and put it on the shelf in dry storage in a place called Lismore. So Mick's had the top off this. He said, "Don't worry, Rich, you don't need to take the top off, because this is I've had it off, and this is the mintest gearbox internally that I've ever seen." So, yeah, that's it, and it will cut to, yeah.
Why is it smoking?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get...
Right, well, let's just get this bad boy in the hole. All right, in you come. Whoa! Oh, Jesus Christ! Hey, there's a lamp. Down. You're not very subtle, are you? No. Down. Nah. You're really fucking hard, eh? Go down. Actually, come up. Okay, down. No. I'll get the gear stick off of it. Oh, yeah. I doubt this is going to work. You have to come back a bit. Side shift left. Up.
Okay.
Let's go down.
Down.
Yeah. Go up a little bit. Come in a bit, Max. Down. God, get in there, you fucking piece of shit.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't have a license for this thing, mate.
Run.
Right, so then just got to get the gearbox cross member in now, and then we're done. Stoked, Max. Stoked.
Stokage levels are high.
They are, mate. It's pretty good. Pretty happy with how it's turned out.
Yeah, sits nice and level.
What's it like in there? Oh yeah, it's touching the tunnel. That just makes me have to do a body lift now, doesn't it?
I suppose so.
All right, yeah, cool. Nice one. We're in. Cross members in. I'm very happy with where it's sitting. I do still need a mid sump or a rear sump, but that can come later. It's all hands on deck to get this ready for the 15th of October. There's a lot of work to do, man. Right, so we're doing brake lines for the shorty today. Elsie's off on public holiday, so she's come in to help us. We're showing her how to make hard lines for custom cars, basically. So we've made up a little hose here, and we still need it to be quite straight at the end to go in the crimping machine, but it's a little bit too long. So if we just do that how I showed you, you spin it and then do it up a little bit. Do it up a little bit. That's it, and then spin it again. Do it up a little bit. That's it, spin it again. Keep going. No, other way, wrong way. That's it. Again. That's it, that's it. Right. So this is 3/16 hose. So we've got the 3/16 die. This is the airflow kit we've got here that goes in the vise. It's very cool. You know how to do it, Elsie. Pop that in there. So there's two options. This is a double flare. So we do option 1, 3/16 for the first crimp, and then we do the second crimp, which creates your double flare for sealing up on the inside of your union. So pop that in there, and you know how to do it. What we're going to do, we're going to go, I don't know which side, we got the right side, we haven't, in there. Just ran the wrong way. There we go. So do that until it pops through. Until it's just showing. Shut that off. Have a look. A little bit further forward. Okay, crimp that off there. Other way. That's it. Tight as you can. Right, do the honours. As hard as you can. That's it. Now option 2, 3/16. That's it. Let's have a look. Undo that. Other way. Pop that one. Cool, double flare. Yo. Very cool. So we're going to get under the vehicle now. We've got another couple of bends to do before we get to the union, but your first hardline, Elsie, how about that?
Yes. So good.
Been a bit apprehensive really, because this engine, we didn't even know if it ran. It was apparently up on some racking for 2.5 years after it had been taken out of a hot rod that hadn't run for so many years. But anyway, we've got it in here. We've done loads since last time. We've got the 60 series power steering conversion there. We've also got 75 series pitman arm on there to give it less of an angle so it doesn't foul on the springs when we're full driving. We've got just a cheapo aluminium radiator up the front here. This is the same as a FJ40 one, so the outlets, it's very important for the outlets to be on different sides of the radiator so you get that flow. Other than that, the engine mounts are done, it's all in. The Billy McKinnon's cross members under there. We've done, me and Elsie this morning had quite a productive morning, haven't we? Yeah, so we got all the hard lines done for the rear axle. Elsie's learned how to make the hard lines, because you're going to be building one in the future, aren't you? So yeah, you've got learning some skills. So look, we've done a bit of a jerry rig. Come round, I'll show you inside. So we've got the ECU just down here. We've jerry rigged a switch. Grab the switch, Chelsea. Just a simple ignition switch. Like, again, we don't even know if the engine runs, so we just want to jerry rig it quickly, just to make sure if anything happens. So we've got this going. We've got earth in here, and we've earthed it out. I've made sure we've got power where we need to in the pins, so fingers crossed. Elsie's going to be on the controls here. There's some wires that she's got to touch together to get it to start. Only the best. So you'll be on that in a minute. Come back round. Now, we've only got one igniter. Toyota call it an igniter. It's this thing here. It's an ignition module, a few names for them. They're the same as the Camrys and a lot of the 2-litre 4-cylinder Toyotas of their age, like 1990 to 92, 93. They're all the same, but because it's a V8, the 1UZ has 2 of these. Now I've got another one coming in the post. It hasn't quite turned up. So we're going to see. All I want to know is that this thing fires. And we've turned it over the other day, and we had the Noid lights in the ignition injector plugs. So we had a pulse there, but we were getting no spark. Now I went on the forums when I got home and spoke to a guy called Paddy Savary, and he said make sure the modules are earthed. It's really important. And I read that on IH8 Mud as well. So I've come in this morning. We've rigged this up. We've given it its own earth from the battery. And well, look, this is we've got another thing. We've got the fuel system now. So we've got the Raceworks pump there. We've got a fuel pressure regulator up on the Firewall here. There's still loads to do to the engine. There's vacuum hoses to be blocked off, and there's the idle control valve here is just going to be sucking from atmosphere, but that's all right for now. We just need to know that it's going to fire. We've got water in the radiator. We've got oil pressure, which was another story in itself. That was quite hard to get up, but we got it up in the end. So, Elsie, do you want to switch the ignition on? Yeah. I'll give it some fuel pressure. All right, Elsie, give it a go. Yep. Whoa! Hey, go on, try again. Oh, that's awesome. And again. Oh, wait. And again. Right, that'll do. Right, that is exactly what I wanted to hear. So hopefully tomorrow morning, I've checked the tracking. It's in Queensland. It's in southeast Queensland. So hopefully tomorrow, the other igniter or ignition module will turn up, and this thing should burst into life. But that's very, very positive, Elsie. What do you reckon? Sounds cool.
Amazing.
So it only sounds like a 4-cylinder at the moment, but fingers crossed tomorrow. Right, we're here at Barney's Exhaust and Mechanical. The Shorty's been down here having the original headers adapted. I wanted to come cross over underneath the sump, meet up, go over the chassis and down to the back of the vehicle. So let's go inside and see how he's got on with the Shorty. If it's anything like what he normally does, it's spot on. Right, first impressions, this is looking sick. Barney's still just nipping things up. We're going to get it down. I can't wait to hear it. So I'm going to be starting it for the first time. What we got 2.5 inch down to the muffler, and then it turns into a 3 inch after the muffler all the way to the back. Now we've crossed over to this side as well because I'm going to have a crash pad rubbish like carrier on the back of the spare wheel. So I don't want to be getting that hot with the exhaust coming out just there. So we've crossed it over to here, and yeah, it should work perfect. Let's get this thing down and start it up. Come on in, Barney, let's get it down.
Let's get it down and have a look.
Right, we've got it outside, just about to get it on the trailer. Thought it's only right that we give it a first little start up, see what it sounds like. Barney's done a great job. This side, the driver's side, was really quite hard because of where the Delos has got, or where the slave cylinder for the clutch needs to be, and the original OEM headers came right down. I cut the end off, bolted them up, but they needed a lot of modification, as you can see. Barney's really done well getting those to go underneath the rear sump, in between the rear sump and the bell housing, and then that comes up to the other side where it gets into a Y piece over the top of the chassis, runs down the outside of the chassis where I wanted it, into a muffler, which is a straight through muffler. We'll see how I feel about the sound. It seems quite quiet. I can't rev it at the moment because I haven't got a mass airflow meter. So as soon as you try to give it any throttle, it just cuts out. So we're only getting what it sounds like at idle at the moment. But after the muffler, it goes into a 3 inch and then comes across to the other side. I'm very pleased with how it's come out. It's just mild steel. It's nothing special. This car's going to be doing beach work. It's going to be going four-wheel driving, so I might even have to adapt it later on if we're going to turbocharge this vehicle. But anyway, let's give it a start up, see what it actually sounds like. Now I wish I could rev this up, I really do, but just won't let me go. But have a go at that. It sounds mint. Can't wait to get the thing revving properly and give it up the road. It will sound excellent, I reckon. Right, let's get it on the trailer. Right, so here we are. It's basically a year, pretty much to the day since I started this this conversion, since I pulled the old 2F out and we started on the journey to be here on this beach today in the middle of winter in Queensland. Yeah, it's been a journey. So look, last time we saw the vehicle, we had a spark, but I didn't have another igniter. So we got another igniter in the post, went through two before I got one that actually worked, and then it fired up. We had ignition, a few other problems after that. We built a fuel system for it, and that carked it pretty much straight away, about a week after I got it home. So I've redone the fuel system in it again, and we're doing well now. I've probably put about 300 Ks on it now. I'm very pleased. This thing puts a smile on my face every time I drive it. Other problems we had, the old Lexuses had a hydro pump in front of the engine to pump the cooling fans. Now, very efficient, but wasn't going to use it on my little 40. So I did a bit of research on YouTube and on Google's, and we came up with there's a conversion, a few part numbers you can buy genuine that converts it back to just an idler pulley. So we've got that on there, and that's running all the cooling belts now, and that's cool with the cooling fans. Keep it nice and cool. The fans rarely come on, to be honest, and I know I cheaped out on the radiator in here and I just used an aluminium one, but fingers crossed, so far it's been fine. So we'll see how long that lasts. So I've got the igniters mounted on the guard here. Now I have put multiple earths from the battery to the body to the guards to the engine, because I do hear that they suffer. They really need good earths, the ECU, the igniters, for it to all work perfectly. Something else that I was missing, when we got it running, you could force it to run with holding your finger over the idle air control valve. Heath Johnson, one of the legends in the scene, has a UZ, he's into UZs, and he shouted up and said he doesn't run his mass airflow meter. He's got one just sitting there, and he donated it to me, legend. So we've popped that on there, and instantly, as soon as we got that there and got the wiring right, this thing just purred, mate. It did its little thing when we started up, when it had all the components that it needed. It worked out its idle speed, and after that it was just plain sailing, and it has been ever since. I absolutely love it. I'm still missing a cover off of that side, which I've got to put on at home. I do have a slight misfire at high RPM, so I've got to look into that, but it's probably a good thing because it keeps my foot off the gas, which yeah, it's probably a good thing, trust me. So the wiring is also ongoing in this thing. It's pretty neat at the minute, but I've got lots of space for extras. We're gonna have spotties, maybe a light bar, some rock lights. I do want this thing to be a proper off-road machine. It does have a locker, an ARB locker in the rear as well, which I still haven't hooked up. I'm hoping to use the aircon compressor and a tank to get some onboard air as well, so that'll be cool. And we'll be running the rear locker, and in the future we'll be running a front locker as well. So we've also got heat wrap on the headers that Barney's exhausted down there. That's very cool, goes over. And the sound of this thing is awesome. It's probably a little bit too loud, but it makes me smile at the moment, so I won't be doing anything about it just yet. I've just got a pod filter on here for now. That's fine. I'm not going to be doing any water crossings or anything like that. Power steering runs perfectly. We've got the 60 series power steering here. The 5-speed I thought it was brilliant, but we've just come onto the beach now and I had it in four-wheel drive and there's a bit of a grind there on the overrun, but we'll just keep quiet about that and see how long that lasts. I might address it one day, maybe. But the rear axle in it, the 79 series axle with the 80 series centre, the 60 series hubs, the 75 series calipers, it all works perfectly. Very, very happy with that. The handbrake's a bit average, but everybody knows they are on the 79s or the disc rear. But having the discs on the rear really does help when you want to put the anchors on this thing. Other than that, there's nothing much going on. Simple fuel system. I built a simple battery tray over in the corner there just to house it. Shorties, you don't have a lot of room under the tray or anything, so they had to go there, and there's no point in having a heater in this thing. Nah. Right, let's go for a squirt.
Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.